following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it.
All right, 14:20 in the morning, a day late and a dollar short. One of those things a little bit late going this morning, but today's show, as always, is brought to you by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code BellyUpSports at SeatGeek.com today and save yourself $20 on your first purchase over there at checkout. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to BellyUpSports.com for other great podcasts such as Rise to the Occasion, the Sports Stove podcast, and my favorite, Craft Brewed Sports. Join Mike and the guys every Tuesday night over there at Craft Brewed Sports, and a lot of great sports articles. Some are written by today's guest to talk about the Professional Women's Hockey League, Luca Tedesco. Luca, how you doing today, sir?
Not bad, Brent. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks. Thanks for being so patient with me. A couple of seconds short. I get a little bit off kilter here once in a while, and sometimes technology isn't my friend when you get to the age of 49 like me. One button can screw up my whole day. But we got through here. Luca, you went the inaugural PWHL game out there in Boston, well, in Lowell the other night. You went in. What were your expectations going into that hockey game? And when you left, were your expectations met, exceeded, or what was your take going in?
Well, the first thing that I thought going into this game, I was concerned. Obviously, the intro to the league was a little bit shaky. They're coming out. They don't have mascots. They don't have jerseys. They show up 5 months after the league is created, and that was a little disheartening. And I kind of wanted to just keep my expectations low. If they get on the ice and they have a game and it looks like a professional hockey game, I would have been happy. And they flew past that with flying colors. It was very, very impressive. And honestly, one of the most interesting things I've ever been to live, and maybe one of the more moving things I've ever been to live.
That's one of the things that I've noticed about this league is that they, like you said, and I was going to get to that. They got some deep pockets, obviously, and they rushed into this thing. They don't have team names. Every jersey is basically the same thing, and it's a bit of a rush. And some of the names that they're coming up with, I think, are a bit hokey. That I've read a little bit that I'm not really exactly gangbusters with some of the names they've come up with. But the thing is a lot of people have said the same thing, is that the competition level is higher than was expected. Like there have been different incarnations of women's professional hockey leagues in the past that have failed, and this one seems to be heading in the right direction and like I said, with the deep pockets. What's the biggest difference that you can think of why this league will make compared to ones that haven't succeeded in the past?
To use a term that many people my age, as a 20-year-old, would use, the vibes are amazing. The vibes are there. People seem excited. I cover the U Mass Lowell Riverhawk hockey team. I'm a play-by-play broadcaster, and I cover some games for Belly Up. We usually get to most games. This is a down year, but between 3,000 and 4,000. On a good night, sometimes we'll get 5. The Songa Center holds 6,003. The attendance for this game was 4,012 people. For night one, 4,000 people passed through the gates. That's a huge, huge deal to me.
Yeah, right across the league, they set an attendance record in Ottawa the other day. It was 8,000 plus, and then they already have over 8,300 tickets sold for the game in Minnesota on Saturday night, and they're actually opening up more bowl seats, opening up some suites and everything else. If your biggest problem is you have your buildings might be too small, that's a pretty good problem to have.
It's a very good problem to have.
A shiny new toy, maybe right now that because people check things out, but on the other hand, like you said, sometimes people are tentative because these leagues have failed in the past. So they're maybe staying away, but like nothing draws a crowd like a crowd. And I think you know that, right? When people
Yes, sir.
people see that, is this a situation where like, okay, people will start going more because the reviews have been great so far, not just for the vibe, like you said, but the competition levels at a higher rate, because there are some different rule changes that we'll get to in half a second. But do you think that the shiny new toy aspect has very little to do with this?
We're going to find out Monday. Boston is going to be the first team to play their second game at home, as far as I'm aware. So we're going to find out Monday. If they can draw another 3,000, 4,000 people, then maybe we might see something. Obviously, maybe a few weeks from now, we might see a bit of a drop off. It's just coming out of vacation week. Things there's not a huge amount of stuff going on outside of the Bruins and Celtics. It's in a weird location, but you could see that. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll find out Monday in the weeks going forward.
That's the thing that kind of scares a person, because during and that's a good point there, Luca, that you made, that during the holiday season, people start to do different things that are a little other element, try different things. There might have been stocking stuffers for tickets, and I hope that's not the case. One of those deals, but this league I think is going to do well, because the women's professional soccer has done very well, and there is a market out there for women's sports, and the girls the women that are playing for these teams now, they have an opportunity to be at a really high level for young girls to for being a role model and everything else. What's your thoughts on that?
That was the majority of the crowd. Was I mean, I saw probably 15, 20 different club hockey jerseys. I mean, every team from a 30-mile radius was there. Wednesday nights is when girls high school hockey is happening. So from what I was talking to with a person from the Globe, the media presence there was insane. We usually have the little media area is not very big. We were packing people in there like sardines, and just having that media presence there is going to be huge. But the Globe person who I was talking to said that's when high school hockey is. So if there wasn't that high school game, we might have seen 5,000 people there that night, but we're going to have to wait and see. But I have a feeling this could be really good.
No, I can't see anything negative. Like I said, they got the Dodgers ownership behind this thing, basically not funding the entire thing, but that's some deep pockets when the Dodgers are dumping their dollars into things and everything else. The Boston team out there, and I can't stand that at all. There's PWHL Boston, like that's just one thing that they'll get those kinks straightened out later on, and the jersey and everything else. But Boston has a player by the name of Hillary Knight. She's an all-star through and through, captain for the Team USA, gold medalist 2023 World Champions. That's got to be a big boost for the Boston team to have a player of the stature of Hillary Knight on that squad.
Absolutely. She when she stepped into that room for the press conference, every camera, every microphone went straight to her. She has a presence in that room that she's captivating. I had never spoken to her before, but she is a captivating person, and you just want to talk to her. And she was very clearly emotional after that, because it seemed this is her third time playing in a professional hockey league. This is her third time playing in a Boston jersey. This time felt different, and I don't know why, but this kind of just felt like she's like, yeah, no, this is right. That's, if you can get that, that's a big deal.
Well, you can kind of compare, like the thing about, like, I have a 16-year-old niece, and she plays soccer, and here in Canada, Christine Sinclair is all the rage and everything else, and has been a role model for young girls and young soccer players, and not just soccer players, young girls who are involved in sport, and it's a great thing. And the thing about like out here in Western Canada where I am, women's hockey isn't the biggest thing. Once basically you can play, and you can play a little bit of university hockey, and then that's it. And it's not it's good, but it's not great. And like having this women's pro league that seems to be off on the right foot and get going, it's something for young girls to aspire to, because even out where you are, college hockey is huge, and it's got a great footprint. But now that there's something that is actually a legitimate league, it looks like it's something for young girls to aspire to, even especially after their college careers are done.
One thing funny to note that a lot of people who were there noted, U Mass Lowell and U Mass Amherst are so we play in a conference called Hockey East, which is the one of the older conferences in college hockey and is, I think, the best, but I'm biased. We are one of only 2 schools that don't have a women's program. And
I didn't know
Hockey East has been trying for 30 years to get UMass Lowell to pick up a women's program. Same with UMass Amherst. UMass Amherst is a little more inexcusable because they're the flagship, as they like to call it. But this could be something big. Because if you can get people into the building, we only have a club team that is on the verge of collapse. I know that one of the captains and the club team is underfunded. This could add funding to them. This could add a women's program. This could be something really important, even for as a UMass Lowell student. But as you said, college hockey's big out here. You have a ton of people on the team who went to Northeastern, went to BU, went to BC, went to Harvard. So you're going to have people from Boston who know the players who are going to be on these teams.
Yeah, it can't hurt. Like that's the thing. Like it can't hurt the development of hockey and everything else. And the hockey, from what we get here in Canada, it's all the games are not all the games, but most of the games are televised on either Sportsnet or TSN. So there is a presence, and the ratings have been really good. And there's a couple guys that I've talked to, and then other broadcasters that I've listened to. The hockey it's a bit different compared to what women's hockey has been in the past. There seems to be we'll get the rule changes in half a second, but the referees seem to be letting a little bit more grit and grind into the game a little bit. There's a little more physicality, a little more body contact than what women's hockey what you're used to, and I think that's going to add to, because that was always one some people's gripe, I guess you could say, about women's hockey, is that it wasn't physical enough. And if you wanted to watch non-contact hockey, you just go down to the local rink and watch a Mighty Mike game or whatever it is. But this seems to be heading in the right direction, where the rules are a bit different. They're letting the emotion come out and letting these women play the game the kind of the way it's meant to be played, and it's comparable to men's hockey.
Exactly. Ken Klee, who was just named the Minnesota head coach a week ago, and there's a whole bunch of stuff surrounding that. And in the post game, he said the contact is going to be something that people are going to have to get used to. The players, fans, officials, coaches, but at the same time, he's been around USA Canada. They play each other a lot, and it is not no contact hockey. But this, as you said, with the rule changes, if you want to get into that, this might be the biggest one, is allowing physical contact on a different level than women's hockey's really seen before.
Yeah, the one rule change that I quite like, we can get in the point system if you want, like how they're like wins are 3-2-1 and how that goes.
I love that system.
I think it's great, because you know what, there's nothing more that I hate than a hockey game, because I'm an old goalie from way back, and I one of the last games that I played, we lost in a shootout, and shootouts make me twitch when I even hear the word shootout. I get a little bit testy, but I like the 3-2-1 point system, like a regulation win, obviously. Like that only adds to teams wanting to win a hockey game, and like, if you have a strong goaltender not going to a shootout and everything else, I think it's something that the NHL needs to look at, and moving forward, if women's hockey can be a catalyst and not a gimmicky thing, but like a rule changing thing like the minor leagues of baseball do, then when they try things in those, and it gets brought up to the major leagues, I think the professional women's league has a chance here to be a pioneer per se in hockey. And because a lot of hockey guys, they're well, this is how we do things, we're not going to change. Well, sometimes, you know what, change is good, because people used to ride horses to work, and we don't do that anymore, right? Yeah. They complained about that. So I think having the rule changes, like that one specifically, what's your thoughts?
The point system?
Yeah.
Again, we'll go back to Hockey East. We use the 3-2-1 point system. They use it over in Europe. It's becoming more and more common. I think they use it. One of my friends works for the Huntsville Havoc of the SPHL. So he knows about that too. It is not a magic bullet, is what I will say. It is, at least in the college hockey space, it's definitely you do want to play for a win, but at the same time, once you get to overtime, it's again, you're going to be a little more, but it's not like going to be the, oh my God, they're going all out attack all 5 minutes. You're still going to see people dropping back from the blue line, regrouping 15 times before you go in. It's not a magic bullet, but it is definitely just logically it makes more sense. But I think it's a great idea. I would not get too over excited about it, but I think it's definitely something to note.
One thing that I think that one of the junior hockey leagues, I don't know if they still do, but they did it a few years back. They would overtime would be 4-on-4, then they would go 3-on-3 for 5 minutes each, and
I heard
then
about that.
and then they would say, well, if it's tied, they leave it as a tie and not go to a shootout, because I've always thought that leaving two people to decide a hockey game is the wrong way to do things. But that's just me. One of the other rule changes that I quite like is that if a team scores while killing a penalty, it hasn't happened in the league yet, but if you get a shorthanded goal, the penalty is over, which I think is a great rule, because it makes the not just killing the penalty, but you go on the offense to get the penalty out of the box right away. I think that's a great rule that most leagues should probably take a look at.
That's another thing that Coach Ken Klee noted. Basically said, look, right now we're just trying to kill penalties. Like if we can go down 200 feet, score a goal, that's great. That's not really, we'll get to that. I think we're going to see eventually teams start to be like, okay, well, if we can get a breakout, we might as well take the chance. But again, I think for at least the first little while, you're really just going to be seeing similar penalty kills. And that's what I saw, was the penalty kills look like penalty kills. It's nothing like they're rushing the puck. You still have the diamond, you still have the box. They're still going to just try and stop the puck and clear it. But that definitely could be something that happens down the road. I'm not a huge fan of the rule. As a referee, it makes my job more complicated. So,
yeah.
Oh wait, who comes out when? No, but that's just me.
It's going to take adjustment, right? It's going to take time to get used to that kind of stuff. The league was announced 5 short months ago, and then and then the draft happened back in September, and it's been, lack of a better term, it's been rushed. And is that a bit of a detriment, or did they have to kind of strike while the iron's hot? Because another year without professional leagues, another year that players like Hillary Knight aren't playing, not unorganized hockey, but not playing in a league that matters. Did they rush into it a little bit, in your opinion? Because it's without team names, because that marketing and that, did they kind of push the envelope a little too quickly, or was it just time to, you know what, shit or get off the pot and here we go?
I'm going to say, strangely, I'm going to say no. I think that they, this was a quote from Hillary Knight, basically just said, look, this is the perfect time. We had to, I agree. They had to go, because if you wait a year, now the excitement isn't there. And now, what is, if you say, hey, this league formed, bang, we're going. Like, i.e., like to a horrible thing to connect it to. The original XFL happened fast.
Yeah.
And you got a lot of people there. Just to get people out there, strike while the iron's hot, as you said, get the games going, have them play, and say, look, we can do this. There is a product here. Just give us some time to work out the kinks. You can still watch hockey if they don't have nicknames, is, I think, something that they're looking at. The one on the nickname front, the Boston Wicked has been floated.
That's one that I was a little down on, but
In
maybe.
Boston vernacular, Wicked, a bit, how I translate that is
Wicked
not
smart,
like is the Boston Very. So, but the one name that I heard floated, I saw this on the live stream, that I loved for Minnesota, the Minnesota Valkyries.
Well, that's not bad at all.
You can tie that in with the Vikings because it's the Norse stuff.
Yeah.
I think the nicknames, they have to get it right the first time is the problem.
That's just it. And then you have copyright and everything else that has to happen. So like there is a method to their madness, I guess.
I'd like to see also the Montreal club be the Montreal Victorias, to relate back to, I think they were the first team that won the Stanley Cup. So that would be
that's even
pretty
before
big.
my time, Luke, if you can believe that. I'm so old. It's kind of a few weeks before I was born. But one of those things.
Yeah.
What's something like they got the original 6 teams, and and I think that was the right number to go to because NHL was original 6. They got, they have Boston, Minnesota, Montreal, New York, Ottawa, Toronto so far. Should they just stay at the 6 for now and not look at expansion? Maybe come out west and get past Minnesota, come this way a little bit. But sometimes growing too big too quick can be a detriment. Is 6 something that you should see because there's only so many players that should be considered professionals? Just because you have more teams doesn't mean you have enough players to play. Should they stay at 6 for a few years, get all the kinks out, and then move forward with expansion out west?
I think they did a perfect job getting the markets they need to now. The only market that and this is going to be really weird, and as a Yankees fan, you're not going to like this. The only market I think they shouldn't have gone to initially and should have replaced is New York.
100%.
I think Chicago would have been a better market just because you have the Blackhawks, you can tie that in, you have smaller arenas available. The New York team's going to be playing at UBS for some games. That's a tough buy-in, and New York is already so flooded with teams. You have 8 top-level major league teams in New York. I understand the logic. You have to go there because it's the largest media market on the continent. So you need to do it. You just have to get them there just to get them there. But I think 6 is pretty, as you said, it's the perfect number. I think calling them the original 6 makes expansion very obvious. But what I'm thrilled about is that they didn't go too experimental. They didn't put a team in LA. They didn't put a team in Seattle. Seattle could have been an option, but I think it would have been tough. But they didn't go to Vegas. They didn't go to LA. They didn't go to Arizona. They didn't go to Texas. They went to hockey's home, which is Minnesota, literally the state of hockey. You went to Montreal, where the first hockey game happened. You went to Toronto. You went to Ottawa. You went to Boston. You went to New York. That's perfect. I think expansion is likely. I'd love to see it happen at some point, maybe to 8. I think 10 is probably the limit, but I think 6 is perfect.
Yeah, if you can get an East and a West eventually and keep it at 5 apiece and one team doesn't make the playoffs, however you want to do a top 4 and however they decide to do it, I think that would be ideal for now. Don't get too big. So I even think that the National Hockey League, because they're talking expansion again and getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
32 is a perfect number. Leave it there.
I'd go back to 21. There's some players that shouldn't be playing, but that's my opinion. I'd go back to a few less teams, to be honest with you. But if you just because, like I said earlier, just because you need to have a talent pool, right? And then having a league that looks like it's in the right direction and with deep pockets that can dump money. And it's not like 35 grand to 80 grand. I think is the pay scale is what I thought I read. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. It's not a huge amount of money, but now these players can actually for the season they can focus on just playing hockey and not have to have a side job and a side hustle or whatever it might be. And they can and I think that's one of the biggest things why this league is probably going to succeed is there's actual livable wages during the season that they didn't have before. That's
something I kind of found interesting in the press conference and in the media of how a lot of the players and staff and people around it talk about it as if it's the first professional women's league ever. It's not. However, it is the first women's professional league that is giving its players salaries that make sense. And that, as you said, you're kind of living like a minor league baseball player. You have your salary for the year. You likely have to do a second job in the off season, but which obviously isn't ideal if you're a professional athlete. But at this point, that's what's huge about this. And that I think is why the atmosphere around it is so different, is because you have these salaries, you're paying the players. And this, as you said about earlier with the physicality, they're allowing hitting now. which was amazing to watch. It honestly, it didn't feel like, oh, it's a professional game, but it's women. It was like, oh, this is a professional hockey game. Okay. And I think that that's really important to just have that feeling now.
Yeah. That's always been the thing. Like even with the Olympic teams and the national teams, like you said earlier, Canada and the US play. Like every time you turn the TV on, there's a Canada-US women's hockey game. Holy cow! And then she's like enough.
Best of seven.
And it doesn't grow like it doesn't grow the game enough because when they play, like Sweden's okay sometimes and Finland's okay sometimes, but those teams usually end up getting their teeth kicked in by the US and by Canada.
Well, that's the reason we don't have hitting in
that's
women's
right,
hockey, because
the two
US
teams are
and
just
Canada were
better.
so much better that everyone was like, no, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We're on the same playing field now. And then
that's right. So it can only help grow women's hockey by having the game more like the men's game. And this is a level that we need the other countries and the other people who play this game. We need everybody to get to this level. And this is the bar we're setting now for women's hockey, and this is how the game is going to be played. And it's not different than the men's game. It's not different than this is what we want. And that's something that I think that they nailed. The big picture is they're going to get people to go to the game because you know what? This is actually hockey. And it's not a kitschy thing. It's not a gimmicky thing. This is actually hockey. And it can't, like, why it took this long to figure it out is kind of a mystery to me.
I agree. But I mean, when you were talking about the international aspect of this, in the press box, I was sitting next to a journalist who he lives in the United States, but he's from Germany, working for Swiss and Finnish media. So you have the European media showing up to this game to talk to Theresa Schaafzahl, who was the first goal scorer in Boston PWHL history. There's a player from Finland on the Minnesota team. I think there's an Austrian as well on Boston. So you have some international players, but you have the media showing up. And on another note, the first goal pucks, sadly, the players aren't getting them, but guess who is getting them? The Hockey Hall of Fame. So
well, that's not the worst thing. I thought you were going to say some undeserving fan was.
No. Hockey Hall of Fame's getting all of them.
That's no, it can't hurt the league at all. Like it can't hurt to have an international flavor, and that's one thing that's got to grow. What are the this is something that kind of, because ticket prices to go to National Hockey League game, they're a bit insane. They're out of control. There's no getting around that. Do you any idea? Because and you had a press pass, you might not even know. But what's the ticket price to take a family of four? Is it affordable? Like is that like I'm asking you if you might know, because I really have no idea what the ticket prices are.
Well, I will be honest with you. I did not know, but I'm looking it up right now.
You have the Google machine at your fingertips.
I should have known this before. I feel like a bad
I surprised you, Luke. I stumped you for once.
I'm a bad journalist. I'm sorry. No. But currently the adult ticket prices for Songa Center, which is PWHL Boston versus PWHL Ottawa, which is going to be this Monday at 6. You can watch all the games on YouTube if they aren't. All the games are going to be streamed. Starting $14 for a single game ticket, and the bowls are the lower. Well, we only have one bowl at Songas, but it seems to be filling up. One half of the ice is already completely sold out, as far as I can see. That's good news. Obviously, there's a few days left. There is going to be a snowstorm here. We're expecting, I think in Lowell, it's going to be like a foot, so 30 centimeters for you guys.
We have no snow.
Oh,
not a
no,
flake. Nothing.
But climate change isn't real.
Not real. No, geez. You laugh about that, but it's funny. Like when I was a kid, we'd have outdoor rinks and stuff at Christmas time and everything else, and nothing. I'm like we could be playing baseball right now.
By the way, I am completely kidding about that. It is a very.
No, it's a real thing. We're on the same page.
On a totally off topic, me and my dad went to a NASCAR race up at Loudon, and a NASCAR fan made that joke, like, oh, but climate change isn't real, those idiots. When they're saying that, there might be a problem.
There might be a little issue somewhere, 100%.
But going back to this, I mean, it's I think there's excitement. I mean, from the one thing that I thought was really, really incredible going to this game, just from a observer perspective, was the crowd was amazing. They were every turnover that Boston picked up, every shot, every save, every face-off win, every good pass, the crowd explodes because it's the first time they're seeing this. And it was really it was very moving I mean, and not to be sappy, but it was incredible. It was one, like, as I said, I've been to a ton of hockey games. I've been to a ton of events. I've never been on the verge of tears for 90% of the game before, because it was really special to be there. And I feel terrible being a 20-year-old white guy talking about this, but I've never seen anything like it. And it was really, really important and special to see. And I'm thrilled that I was able to be there for that. And it's going to be right in my backyard.
What's great about it too, Luca, is that like I said earlier, these girls have a chance to be real pioneers, because now that everything is the way it's sexism is out there, and the way there's a bit of there's a gradual change compared to what it was 30 years ago or even 10 years ago. Like, it's a lot better now than it used to be, and now girls are saying, you know what, I can do that too, and I have an opportunity to do this too. And there's a lot of people who are still in the Stone Ages who say, well, no, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. And you have a situation now where girls are accepted a lot more in professional sports, not just on the ice, but in the locker rooms as reporters and everything else. And it's opened up a lot of doors for things that weren't opened up for women 100%. That now that these girls have a huge opportunity right at their fingertips, that to be like there's probably a little girl at the game in Lowell who's the first time being at a hockey game, or maybe she plays youth hockey and she's 7 years old and she's thinking, you know what, I can do this too. I have an opportunity to do this too. I didn't. And now Patrice Bergeron's not my favorite player, or Brad Marchand's not my favorite player anymore. Now Hillary Knight's my favorite player. Right. So these girls have an awesome opportunity throughout the league to really get to grow the game of hockey. Because like I said, I have a 16-year-old niece. She played hockey at a younger age, and she just like, well, it's not really my thing anymore. But if this league that was getting pushed a lot more than the other ones, because it's getting pushed a lot more than the other ones were, and I think that's big too. They're marketing it right. Well. And like you said, once they get their jerseys straightened out, once they get their nicknames straightened out, and all that it can only help. Do you see like that? Do you see what I'm getting at, the pioneer, like being pioneers? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
That was mentioned basically when we had the players for media availability after the game, in the press conference. The one thing I found really strange was that, not strange, but I think was interesting, and I think we're going to get to this eventually, that we're going to start talking about the hockey eventually. But first night, you got to kind of understand this is a historic moment. All of the players, and Hillary Knight, because she just seems incredible, said something really, really interesting. If you can see it, you can dream it. If you can dream it, you can do it. And that's very profound to say that you had little girls, 7, 10 years old, up on the glass during the warm-ups, banging on the glass, and they're coming up, and the players are kind of like looking at each other like, wait a minute, this is for us. They come out on the ice, the spotlight follows them to the blue line, and there's this picture that was in my article with Hillary Knight, and I can't remember who the alternate captain is. They're looking up during the national anthem with two Boston Wizards.
Yeah, I read your article and I saw that. Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
That image is what this league is this is the start of something really, really special. At least that's what it feels like. And I think if you are looking for this league to fail, if you're looking for this to not be something huge, and now am I saying, oh, this is going to be on par with the NHL? No, I think that's a stretch, but I think this could be the one thing I felt like this might be able to have more legitimacy than even something like the WNBA. That's kind of the direction I feel like this is going, because no one's making too many jokes about it. Because you saw 2,000 people in Toronto opening night, that not an empty seat. You saw 8,000 people in Ottawa. You see 4,000 people in Lowell. You're going to see an 18,000 seat arena in Minnesota with half to
over half full. Yeah,
that's a big deal. This feels like something big. And as you said, the new toy thing, I don't know yet, but I have a weird feeling this might, not a weird feeling, but I have a gut feeling this could be something really, really special.
No, I like you said, it's too bad we can't talk about the hockey more. Like it's just one of those things.
But
But
the hockey was, by the way, the hockey was great. The game was great. Some of those plays, there was almost a between the legs assist across the ice from Hillary Knight, and that would have been goal of the year in any league. And it was saved. The goaltending play was spectacular. Hensley for Minnesota played on her head, and someone in the live stream was saying, at this rate, she's going to get her number retired league wide. So, the hockey's really good too.
That's a good thing, because like eventually we will stop talking about the Pioneer and the growing pains and everything else, and we will stop talking about, and then not negatively, like we're not being negative at all about it, but eventually the game will take the forefront of it, and you'll get past all the pomp and circumstance, I guess, and it'll become a forefront probably this time next week. But like you were saying, like even Toronto, where they're playing at the old Maple Leaf Gardens, it's good. I can't remember what it's called now. It's refurbished.
I think it's like the Matinee Athletic Center.
Yeah. So it's a bit. They're already talking about maybe moving to where the Marlies play, because they need more seats, and they're talking about that already. So that's a good sign. And Minnesota, like you said, they're 8,500 tickets sold, or 8,300 tickets sold as of this morning, and they're expecting 10,000 on game day and it's good. And it's there isn't anything. Like there is some jokes, there always will be, about the WNBA, and it doesn't seem to have, like, maybe the hockey community is a bit different, I guess, but there doesn't seem to be it's just another women's league. Oh yeah, this one's going to fail too. I don't think anybody's thinking that. I think that there's most people thinking, you know what, this is a real deal, and this is going to happen this time around, and let's support it, and let's make sure that this time it works, because these athletes, and eventually we'll quit calling it women's hockey, we'll just call it hockey.
That was the thing that I was struggling in my article with a lot, was like, how do I? It's this double-edged sword of, you want to talk about this historic moment, but at the same time, when are we just going to say, oh yeah, no, this is another hockey league, and it's fun. You go to it. It's not you don't have to pay the $1 million price to go to the NHL. And this is terrible to say, but maybe one day, when the Toronto team gets to the Scotiabank Arena, we'll all be talking about how the seats are filled with corporate people and how no one can go to the games anymore. And then we will know the league has made it, because Toronto refuses to let the fans actually go to the games. Ha!
That's just it. Toronto will have that problem no matter what. It's going to be one of those things where
one day
the lower bowl is full of people who don't watch hockey and leave by the time the third period's up. But it's one of those
3 hats on the ice for the hat trick. Yeah.
It's like eventually it's going to get to that point that it's not women's hockey, and it's just hockey, and but it's going to take some time, and people will get to that, and like people will tune into the games, and there is going to be a curiosity level for the first week, or first 2 weeks, or first month, or first year, and getting. Like if you get 1,000 people to watch a game, and you get 50 of them to return, that's pretty good. But you obviously want more, obviously, but just the getting it out there and being and having the notoriety and having it and just being in your face, because the thing there's so many things that get our attention on a daily basis, right? And so you have to, and if you're not relevant at all times, people forget about you, and that's something that the women's league, this PWHL has to continue to do, is get out there and just keep going and keep going and keep going, and these athletes have to realize that that's part of their job too, is that they have to be out there nonstop marketing this, because people will forget about it quickly. And that's just society in general. It's like if you're not doing a podcast on a weekly basis, or if you're not doing a TV show on a weekly basis, people forget about you, because once you get canceled, nobody cares. Like there's something else coming down the line, right? So these women have to realize that this is being a role model, being a pioneer, being out there. That's part of their job, and I hope they're ready for it. I really, and not just the Hillary Knights of the PWHL, but all these players have to realize that this is going to be some trying times. It's going to be a struggle, but you know what? They have to be on board to do this, and to get to the level that they're at. They must know that it's part of it, but they have to realize that this is a full-time job. It's not just something that's a niche thing. This is something that, like, I have to be ready at all times for what's coming at me.
We had a very brief discussion, actually during a U Mass Lowell hockey game with the GM of the Boston team, and one of my fellow media members asked, "Are you guys planning on doing clinics for girls teams?" And immediately it was, "Yep, we're working on it. We're going to get those going. We're going to have clinics. We're going to invite teams. We're this is going to be a Boston community thing." And that's something you could already feel when within 30 seconds of the puck dropping. Let's go, Boston. Spontaneously, there was nothing on the big screen. The crowd just started chanting. And eventually you're going to get, I mean, I remember seeing if no jerseys is going to, if the team's not having distinct jerseys is going to be what kills the league, you got a lot bigger problems to worry about.
100%.
It hasn't killed the league. And honestly, even though I would love to see more branding and identities. The jerseys look pretty good. I'm not gonna lie; they're pretty.
No, they're not bad.
Pretty sweet.
They're not bad. They're just a little too similar, I guess. Is
yes.
One way.
Eventually, when we have the Valkyries playing the Victorias, it's going to be quite a. You'll see it.
You know, it's great for women's sports. It's great, and like I said, eventually, it'd be nice to say, because you don't call it the National Men's Hockey League, and it'd be nice if it was just the Professional Hockey League.
You had
or the women's hockey, or whatever you want to call
it. The PHF was kind of the attempt at that with the Premier Hockey Federation, but I mean, they have an identity with this already. You're already kind of starting to see little things moving into creating this identity. The thing that I, as a referee, noticed most quickly was that the referees aren't wearing orange armbands. Their armbands are purple, because that's part of the identity of the league. You're at least getting a league identity right now. And as you said, eventually we hopefully won't have to call it the Professional Women's Hockey League, but I think right now the marketing of it is damn good. It's damn good.
Yeah, it's and just with the, like, I think the biggest, like, for me, just with the I hate to do this, the political climate that we're in, I guess I hate going, but it's true. But it's true.
It's true.
It's true. You can't hide behind it, and you can't pretend it's not there. But the political climate that we're still in, which is odd to me, that we're not on the same playing field tonight. We're 2024 now, that people just can't accept it. And then I think that's good that they only went to certain places. And
there's a reason there's not a team in Birmingham, Alabama.
There's a reason behind it, and it's crappy to say, because not everybody from Alabama is a bad person.
And they're not to crap on you guys, but there's a reason there's not a team in Edmonton yet.
Yeah, no, and that's 100%. Like it's just that, and that's just how it is. Like they went to certain cities, and I think that was the right way to do it, and
Exactly.
no, and to just to ease into it, because there are, no matter what, there are going to be people right to the day we die, that will say that this isn't right, and that there's for lack of it, I'll say it, like there's people say, oh well, they're just a bunch of butches playing hockey, and it's terrible that it is still that way, that there are people who talk that way, but if these girls can, and these young women and everything else, if they can get away from that and forget about, because there's going to be negativity, and I think that's something that they have to realize that's coming at them too, is that there will be a lot of people that say that it just shouldn't happen, it shouldn't be happening, and there'll be a lot of ridicule, and it's crappy to say, like I said, in 2024, that there is still people like that, but there is, and it's something that these women have to. I'm sure that they know. Like I'm not. I'm sure that they don't have blinders on.
Yeah.
Like because you cover sports teams there at school, and I'm sure that they feel that same way. But like
Oh,
when they
I mean, I have heard it about when I I used to be not a direct yes and no, a direct employee with the baseball team, and you don't want to know some of the stuff that's being said in some of those locker rooms. And I mean, but my response to that with people who are going to be, oh, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't play, then just don't watch.
that's just it.
Then watch the NHL. Go pay your $85 to go watch the Bruins from the back row, or you can spend $40.
85, jeez.
Oh, again,
Yeah,
on maybe on SeatGeek.
yeah. There you go.
Interesting. See the
Yeah.
shameless plug. But again, you're gonna then just don't watch. Then go to whatever you want. You continue to watch your thing. If you want to see something different, go watch this because it's great.
That's the thing. Like, if why people have to be like I said, the political thing comes out no matter what in this climate that we're in, and why people have to. If you don't like it, who cares? Like, not everybody has to agree with everything that you say, right?
I don't like UFC. I like professional wrestling. I'm not gonna get mad at someone if they like UFC and they don't like pro wrestling.
100%.
I like the Red Sox. You like the Yankees. I'm not. I mean, okay, maybe on that one.
Yeah,
I
let's
might
not
be a
go to
little
that level. One of those things, yeah. So, where do you see, like, what would at the end of the day, like when the season's over, 32 game schedule, what would be a successful year? Not to let's start like at the gate. If they were at 75% capacity, every building, yes, they had the Christmas bump and the Curie, the looky loser on opening nights and everything else. What would be in your eyes, off the ice, what would be a successful season for the PWHL?
50% capacity at the smaller arenas. So that is Lowell, Toronto. I'm not sure where Montreal is going to be playing. Ottawa, I think 50% at the smaller arenas and up, and then maybe a third to 40% for the larger ones. I think that would be maybe 3,000 to 4,000 people a game. I think is where they want to be. That seems to be the benchmark from the GM of Boston herself. They want 2,000 to 3,000 people a game, which I think at this point is low from what we just saw. Off the ice, I mean, while I am a firm believer in this, and I think it is gonna work, there's still this part of me that says if they get through the year without folding, then it's successful. And I hate to say that, but that kind of feels like one of the benchmarks is get through the year. Let's see what anything, just getting through the 32 games for each team. Get through that, and you have had a success. Crown a champion. Don't pull an AAF where you got to make things up. Crown a champion at the end of the year, and that is a 100% success.
You know, Luca, like as ridiculous as that sounds, that's probably the smartest thing I've heard you say on this show today.
Oh,
Because
wow, thanks.
it does sound ridiculous. Like, okay, just make it through the year, But like a lot of ventures don't make it. Like
I.e.,
you can have an
AAF,
idea.
the original XFL. things that we thought were going to, well, the AAF, not so much, but the original XFL, we thought was going to be the next big thing. I wasn't even alive for it. And it crashes within 3 months. I don't think that's going to be the case with the PWHL, but I want to be conservative about it. I want to say, look, let's crown a champion. Tell everyone we are here. We've played all the games. You saw us for the 5-month season, which is a bit of a slog. They have 2 international breaks. Get through those 5 months and then do it again next year. Start in January, do it again. When we play game 1 next year, that's how we'll know, okay, yeah, no, this league has staying power.
Yeah, because no matter how deep your owner's pockets are, rich people are rich for a reason. They don't like losing money, right? And so if they see this as not a profitable business, and even if it's making $10, if they're losing money, they're going to pull the pin. And that's how business people are. That's what they do. So I think you're 100% right, and that's crazy to think that because at the end of the day, it's advertising and bottom line. No matter what.
It's sad that that's the benchmark, but
that's everything.
Right now, that's the benchmark.
And if they can make a couple of bucks, great. But as long as they can stay keep their heads above water and they're not just dumping money in, because everything costs money. Like you're only paying the players between $30,000 and $80,000, whatever it is. There still has to be some money coming in. And that's the thing. And whether it's TV deals that they have or YouTube advertising, whatever they can possibly have, it's important that they're all on board. And it sounds like everybody is on board, from the coaches to the players to the ownership to everything. It sounds like everybody's behind this thing. And I know it's getting great marketing. It's getting great reviews here in Canada. And I hope we have the 3 teams here. And I hope that down in the East and then in where Minnesota is in the Midwest, I guess, you hope that everybody gets behind it a little bit, and you hope that people give it an honest to God shot that allows these athletes to continue to do what they love, and gives little girls an opportunity to see that they can do it too. And I think that's one of these things that it can't hurt the league. It can't.
Not to talk anything bad about U Mass Lowell, but when U Mass Lowell is on board with something, it probably might be able to pull something off, because they have been there's been a lot of complex stuff with sports in the last couple of years. We just bought the baseball park from the city for $1 million, and they might tear it down for dorms. Nobody knows. But when you're giving the PWHL a landing space, I'm surprised they didn't go to Warrior, which is in the city of Boston. But again, there really aren't. We're kind of weird up here with what professional leagues we have. We don't have much minor league stuff up here. It's major league or bust. That's why the Spinners don't exist. And PWHL Boston is the first team in Lowell since the Lowell Spinners were folded in 2019. But it's the biggest arena outside of the Garden in Boston. So it's a good measuring stick. But I think if the university is on board, something might be there.
No, it's a good thing. I'm excited for it. I hope other people get behind it. And we'll have to have you on again maybe next.
We are way over time.
Oh, it's fine. It doesn't much matter. It doesn't.
Well, you said it was going to be. You were talking.
Well, I know what I say, but I get talking and you get talking. And what are you going to do? It's one of those things. It's just.
I'm a broadcaster. I like to talk.
That's a good thing about podcasting. If you can just lie and whatever, it doesn't much matter. If you want to tune in, great. It's one of those things. So no real time restrictions. No, thanks very much, Luca, for coming on. We'll have to have you on again maybe next month. We'll talk.
Of course. And
we'll actually talk about the games a little bit more than how it's going on. We can get going that. Tell everybody where they can, what you got going on. I read some of your bios and everything else. You're a busy man. Yeah.
So I just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm a journalism student at U Mass Lowell, which, if you don't know where Lowell is, if you know where Boston is, it's about 30 miles north. I don't want to say how much time, because that could be 40 minutes. That could be 7 hours. Nobody knows. Yeah. Boston, as with everywhere, constant traffic. The Big Dig did nothing. But I am a journalism student at UMass Lowell. I'm a junior. I'm going on my second semester of my junior year. I broadcast for the student radio station, which is WUML. You can listen to games on WUML.org and listen to the rest of our great programming. I used to have a radio show, but classes and stuff makes it impossible this year. And then I write for Belly Up Sports. You can read my stuff there and follow me on X or Twitter or whatever you want to. I hate calling it X.
It's always going to be Twitter.
It's at Luca. I think it is. I should have this memorized.
712.
At Luca Tedesco 712. That is my Twitter bio if you want to follow me on there for ramblings and mediocre takes. But other than that, yeah, thank you so much for having me on, Brent, and I cannot wait to talk to you soon.
No, we'll do it again very soon, and
Yes,
go at PWHL Boston. That's the only time
Go
you'll
the
ever
green
hear me
team.
say anything about go Boston. That's the first time ever to come out of my mouth, and probably the last time too.
Well, I mean, there are 5 other teams for you to pick from, but I think I'm going to say we may not have won that game, but number 3 or 4 in the standings, number 1 in your heart. And that's why I'm wearing a green sweater today. So
there you go. Go right. PWHL. No, thank you very much, Luca. We'll have to do it again very soon.
Right. Talk to you soon, Brent.
Ciao, man.
Bye.
You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.